Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored, and I'm back in Saint-Tropez. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was here last year and absolutely love it. I'm having such a wonderful time. This is my children's favorite holiday, I can't tell you. And it's mine too, because, we're all so busy, and I'm still busy. I'm working now, but just being able to take this time and be a family is so special, even though, everyone's going in different directions and it's chaotic. It's still my favorite time of year. And that's really what today's about, I think. I went to visit a girlfriend of mine in hospital last week, and it just really reminded me, she's super successful. And it just reminded me that success is nothing without health. Health is wealth. And, no matter how rich you get out there, people, if it wants to hit you, it's going to hit you. And it's made me reconsider quite a few things in my life and look at things, right? Like I called another friend of mine. I booked a colonoscopy. I've done the 3 Tesla MRIs. And I would just suggest to all of you over 40 to get on and do it, even over 35, to be honest, because things are treatable until they're just not. And, life is beautiful. Here I am, and I've got beautiful friends. Tomorrow's my party that everybody has organized for me. I really haven't been part of because, obviously a lot of my family, my real, old friends can't be here because I'm just doing it here. So in Saint-Tropez, but it's just reminded me that people that love you will do things for you and are so kind, and like what life's about really, which is just taking a minute and taking it all in. I mean, yesterday I spent the whole day in town with my sons. I wanted to shoot myself by the end of it, but it made me so happy at the same time because watching their little faces, they're so happy, and giving them all individual attention, which I don't get to do very often, is just fantastic. And it's also been the first year that they are really all getting on. I don't know about any of you, but if you've got teenagers, my daughter's 20, my sons are 16, and, my sons are twins. So like a lot of times they fight, they don't go to each other's birthday party, all the above, but now they're beginning to enjoy each other. I actually caught them playing pool last night. I actually caught them enjoying each other. My daughter, on the other hand, she's got a friend here running around. I've got all my friends here. I'm in and out, and it's just a lot. I think just seeing my girlfriend in this sort of position where you have to surrender to life, it's really sort of made me think and maybe appreciate everything. And we have one life, grab it by the balls. Stop listening to people. One of the biggest things I think I took on was we never regret the mistakes we make. We regret the, chances we didn't take. And sometimes people always go to me, you're too much, or you hustle too much, or you go for things that you want in such a sort of straight way that people don't understand. And I'm like, I want this life more than anything, right? I want to be part of this life more than anything, because why wouldn't I take the chances? I married a man. Well, actually, I moved to the States when I was in 20, I suppose. I went for a man that I met on one night. I, left a guy I'd been with for 3 years over one night. I've always followed my own gut, not what other people told me I should do. Right? Life is short. You've got to go all in. I married a 24-year-old at 43, all of these things. I moved countries. I've started businesses. I've failed at businesses. I've walked away from everything comfortable in my life before, and started again, everything. Like I left a giant house, staff, went through everything with my kids to get to where I am today. And, was it the fear or excitement that pushed me? I'm not sure. Probably it's fear. It's always fear, I think, going on stage, talking to all of you, starting my retreats, doing the podcast. Of course you have fear, an ultimate type of fear. I never listen to my podcasts again. I don't plan things out. I don't want to be, here I am, I've got notes, but that's it. I don't want to be structured. I don't want to be free, not be free speaking. I don't want to, you know why I don't listen to my podcasts? Not because I don't like my podcasts. I'm sure they're great. But because I don't want to edit. I don't want to edit. Do you know how many people I end up interviewing that edit themselves, that say, oh, can I listen to it before it goes out? And my strongest recommendation would be no, don't, because the first is always the best. You know, I think confidence isn't in the absence of fear. It's just how you navigate fear, right? I think it's how you decide what to do in life. You know, of course we all have fear, but life can change overnight. You know, learning to look after yourself, manage stress, all of these things that go into fear, they're tools that you can use, but you can't possibly cut out all of these feelings. If you cut out of these feelings, what kind of life are you living? Like, if I'm not going, holy crap, what's going to happen to me next? Or, my brain might explode in a minute, then who am I? I think the biggest risk to me would be playing safe. That to me is the biggest waste of life. And actually, it was a friend of mine, very successful friend, Russian friend, who's, a billionaire. And his wife said to me, stop playing small. And that really also, because I took risks, but minimal, right? Because I think I was already in that position where I felt like I'd already lost everything, so I can't do it again, since I built it up. Like I don't want to lose £5, let alone, £500,000, 2 million pounds. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. So, chances that I've taken have always changed my life. Moving to America, I met all my friends. Going to that party that you're too tired to go to. Saying yes to the holiday. Sometimes when I'm on a really good path of like saving money and doing the sensible thing, and then someone goes, do you want to come here? And I'm like, fuck it, let's go. So many decisions have defined my life. I moved to LA not knowing anyone. I moved to New York not knowing anyone. And by the way, those guys, and the people that I met there are still my friends today, and I'm 50. I'm still staying with the same girlfriend in Beverly Hills as I did in my 20s. And we're laughing all the time about how much we changed and how much, ridiculous stuff we did together. And I think, everyone faces a decision that they're scared to make today, and whether it's love, career, money, starting over, I think nobody's safe from it. And it's so important, because watching, as I said, a close friend of mine struggle with health, I realize how quickly your life can change overnight, literally overnight. And we don't know, I'm reading all this stuff about the COVID vaccinations we took. I think I took 3, because that's what everyone told me I was meant to do. And frankly, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Nobody knows what was in that. Some of these peptides we're taking, we don't know. I'm so big into them, and now I'm reconsidering that, whether I'm, crazy and I should just do less. We prioritize sometimes the wrong thing. We think we're always going to have tomorrow, and it's not so. It's not so. It's like Sergio saving even stupid things like his clothes. Stop saving things. Tomorrow is today. Tomorrow is actually today. We prioritize work and stress over peace. And I think, I know when I'm doing it, because I always say to myself, the most expensive thing I bought for myself is peace and freedom. But then, I take another job. I'm literally about to say yes to a job in Abu Dhabi. That means I have to fly to Abu Dhabi for 24 hours. And then I'm thinking, why am I doing that? Why can I not say no? Why have I not learned it after this? And I think we only value things like health when it's too late and it's threatened already. And, I'm now going to, don't save the money on that. I'm now going to make it my priority to check all this, get a diagnosis. I think we've all had perspectives on health, whether be it having an older father or mother going through things. My dad suffered multiple like mini heart attacks. He's got stents, all of these kind of things. Girlfriends of mine, boyfriends of mine that have, got health issues. We're not immune to it, any of us. Watching loved ones struggle, it doesn't matter how much you've got left in the bank. What's it going to do for you? Absolutely nothing. And actually, the more money you have, the more problems you have, the more people you have to run, the more stress. Like, what are we striving for? Honestly, I was thinking the other day just about people like, even like Trump, for God's sake. He's got all this money. But like, how do you enjoy all that money when you're always going to have to look over your shoulder for the rest of your life? You're going to spend looking over your shoulder. So like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? That man that was targeted in Monaco, and now his, girlfriend's lost her legs. Like, I just think about all these over money. It's all over money. We're all so obsessed with money, and what does it actually buy us? Like, what does it actually buy us? I have things, and obviously, like, I do understand there's a level of money, right? And that having a nice house would be lovely. But like, do we need to learn when to stop? Is it social media, and that makes us feel that money is the only thing that matters? And I think if you like really think about this, if you lost your health tomorrow, what would you suddenly think about that would stop mattering to you? Status, arguments, material things, money, it just shows you really, when it comes down to it, what's important and who that person is sat next to you, right? What does being healthy today really mean? I just watched this other guy, one of the biggest influencers, and God, I'm bad, my head, brain fog, for health. And apparently he did a transfusion with his teenage son's blood, and now he has an autoimmune disease that he cannot fix. I mean, how ironic is that? He is meant to be one of the healthiest people on the planet, and that is an untreatable disease that he has just got from being so healthy. I'm the first to say we're bringing up a very weak generation. Like, when we were young, we'd go through airports with our tongues hanging out, licking people's shoes. And our parents would just say, oh, well, it's okay. Put it down now, darling, as we've got dog poop in our mouths and, fluff from the floor of the airport, but we don't do that anymore. We don't do that to our kids. So our kids have no immune systems. What does being healthy mean today? We've just been taught that being healthy means you have to go to the gym, and look thin. And frankly, I'm absolutely guilty of it. Here I am, thin as a rake, having taken all my peptides and all of these things. And maybe I'm meant to have a midlife belly right now, but everyone's telling me how fucking good I look. I don't want one. And that's what's ridiculous, it's what am I trying to look this thin for? My husband doesn't even like me thin. Also, when you're taking all of these things, how is our mental health? How are our hormones? How are our stress levels, our sleep, our relationships, our purpose, our peace of mind? Is anyone considering all of this at the same time? Anyone? Probably not. Because we're all so fixated on the next health fad, or, I just literally read somewhere for a minute ago, we were meant to be doing hot baths, cold baths. Now cold baths are terrible for women in menopause. Now I've read that matcha isn't good for you. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I mean, frankly, I'm so confused by life. And I've realized that we just have to get on with life and live it with the best intent. Nobody really knows. Nobody actually knows. And going through something like this health scare with my girlfriend, I'm realizing that not even the doctors know. They're all learning on the job, which is fine. Like, you can't possibly know everything about everything, but nobody knows. There are suggestions, people are clever. And by the way, today, nobody wants to diagnose anyway, because if they diagnose wrong and then you can sue them, the whole world is fucked up. So what can I suggest? What would I do if there was that one last change today? Walk daily. Go to bed earlier. Manage your stress levels, which is the biggest killer, to be honest. Get regular checkups doing that. I'm going to do it, as I said, I did it, I think it was a year ago, the big one, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going home to get it done. Don't be embarrassed about colonoscopies, ladies. I understand it's not much fun. Nobody wants to have a tube rammed up their bottom. Nobody. But, I'd rather have that tube up my bottom than, the alternative, frankly. Spend more time with your loved ones. Stop putting yourself last. Who taught us that we have to come last in the pecking order? Who? It is the most ridiculous thing. Let everyone else be happy and then your happiness should follow. How the fuck does that work, by the way? Make it make sense. Of course it doesn't. If I'm like the last person on the list and my hair, and I feel ragged and I don't have the things that make me happy around me and, all of the above, how can I make other people happy? How can I teach my children what's important in life if I look like I've been dragged through a bush? All of these things. It's just not normal, right? I have great girlfriends around, and that was my all these messages are popping up on my iPad. Like, my girlfriend's just gone to get my daughter. How wonderful is that? That, we have an older generation of people that are taking care of our younger generation. That I want to be around for this. I want to enjoy this, right? And, life, as I said, it's precious. It can change overnight. We can be hit by a car. Look at these terrible, more and more I'm reading about just the war. I never thought that would happen where I'm living. I mean, I can't believe I can say I'm living through a war. And one diagnosis can change everything. And, health changes everything. And so I would just say, stop worrying about what people think of you as my largest one. I'm in Saint-Tropez right now, right? This is probably the social climbing epicenter of the world, and I'm in it. And I don't mean that derogatorily. I really, truly don't. Like, that's what I mean. It's such a derogatory word that people use to put other people down. But actually, everyone who's self-made is guilty of it. If they weren't social climbing and looking for more, how the fuck did they get from one level of life to the next? Just think about it for a minute. It's such a ridiculous concept that you can't change social circles and climb up a ladder. Career path, better relationship, better mother, new friends, change, better city. So if I'm born into a family that lives in the middle of nowhere, that has no money, I'm meant to stay there for the rest of my life, make it make sense. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're saying a social climber actually is. A hustler is someone that works fucking hard for everything they have. Fucking hard. Introduce me to a ton of hustlers because I'm going to have a lot in common with them. I want to talk to them. I don't want to talk to some lucky sperm kid that's inherited and has no idea what to do or how to do it. Most of those people end up very unhappy, losing it, having to ask, permission to spend it, all of these things. I don't want my kids to be that. I want my kids to learn. I want my kids to see, if you want to go from here to here, that's how you go do it. If you want to go to that room, from this room to that room, that's how you do it. If you want to meet someone, like my party tomorrow, I have crazy, crazy influential people coming, right? I am sure there are a ton of businessmen or women coming tomorrow to meet other people, right? And the table plan, and they're going to jump. I was at a dinner the other night, and one of the top surgeons in the world was there. I jumped across the table because I wanted to meet him. I really wanted to meet him for other reasons, but, everybody's guilty of it. What's the difference to wanting him to meet the movie star you've seen to wanting to meet the businessman, right? There's no difference. It's just, be honest. Be honest in life. Great if you've inherited a shit ton of money. Most people don't. And the ones that worked all the way there, look at that woman. Oh, the brows woman. I just met her with Sofia Vergara and her managers at a party just now. And I was like, oh my God, like how amazing. She started as a single mum with nothing. Why isn't that social climbing? Right? Isn't that social climbing? She's now like, everybody wants to know her. Everybody's trying to meet her because she's a billionaire now. Like, she's written a book. She does all the famous people. I can assure you, when she was a single mum from, wherever, no one was queuing up to see her. She wasn't making speeches at giant, charity galas where she's just donated millions of dollars. No. But now everybody wants to be her friend. So those people aren't social climbing. Everybody's social climbs. It is a natural progression. So let's take the tone out of it. Let's celebrate people that want to better themselves, that want to further themselves. I want my children to further themselves. I want them to do better than me. 100%. Like, if I'm going to be the best that my family's ever seen, well, that's annoying. Like, everyone that comes to my retreats wants to better themselves. They're coming to put themselves in a room with people bigger than themselves, or to meet people that can possibly further their careers. I don't advertise it as a social climbing network. It's a network of women to help women, right? Look at the woman, Emma O'Greed. Her story, she didn't come from this. She's a self-made woman and self-proclaimed hustler. There is nothing wrong with hustling. And I would be more proud to hustle than to be that person that goes, I can't do it. I won't go and put myself out there and speak to the person I need. What's the worst that happens, by the way? People are human. They really are. Like, I mean, once in a while you meet an asshole who goes, can you, F off? But generally, if you walk up with a big smile on your face, people are quite nice. I don't really see people. They may go, I'm busy right now. Do you mind, get in touch this way? But genuinely, people are quite nice to other people these days. So, I would say take those chances. Take those chances. My mother taught me that. You never know who you're going to meet. You really don't. Or where it's going to lead to. But I can assure you of something. Unless you put yourself out there, and unless you do, make an effort, the world doesn't owe you anything. Nothing. Okay? And chances won't come to somebody when you're sitting at home. Right? If you're doing the same things, you can't do the same things and expect a different outcome, can you? We can do the best by ourselves. You can not blame others for your misfortune. Like, even the younger generation now, we're bringing up children that sort of expect everything done for them. My daughter, she's 20. She's asking me to call this person and that person and organize. And I always organized it for her, always. But now I'm thinking, you're 20 years old. Get on with it. Get on with it, right? I'm not going to be there forever. I mean, at some point, you have to take the bull by your horns and take responsibility. If I remember, I was living on my own since I was 6. I've been in boarding school since I was 6. So if I wanted something and I really wanted it, what made me special from all the 300 and something other children in that school? Nothing, absolutely nothing, except my personality and my drive, right? So if I didn't ask, I wasn't going to get, because other kids are there too, all as worthy as I was, right? It's like anything. You can be sick and not looking for the best doctors. If you don't ask, you don't get. You can give up in life. I've lost a business, so I'm not going to try again. It was embarrassing. I've lost many businesses. Yeah, hugely embarrassing. But then you get over embarrassment. You get over embarrassment. You don't get over not trying again. You don't get over unhappiness. Some of the most unhappy people are the ones that are unfulfilled, that have nothing to do. That's unhappiness, because tomorrow you have nothing to do. The day after you have nothing to do. I, on the other hand, have a list of fucking things to do. And you know what? I tend to take it in my stride now. The list gets long, and then I go, I'll choose this one to do today. I'll just baby steps. I have to be hard on myself to make it work, but you have to be consistent. You have to be driven, and you have to know what you want. And I watched another young couple with nothing like the connections I have, make it the other day, and they were going, they were in debt, 30,000. Then, they decided to take more debt out, start an Airbnb business, and it makes them $2.2 million a year, and now they've retired. And I was like, what a nice life, and what a way to do it, right? Because they took little steps each day, applying for credit card with 0 interest, doing all the things in a small way, but 10 years later, it's paid off. I don't believe anyone can't be successful. In fact, Elon Musk just said that soon, with all the things that are available to us, you know, that generation of being like having nothing will be extinct, or it should be extinct, because, you know, there are so many ways to make money today. There are so many ways. You just have to get out of your own way, right? You have to get out of your own way. You have to be sober. You can't be a drug addict, an alcoholic, and someone who wants a pity party. Because if you have a pity party or you're not sober in the morning, they're fine. You know, like I give up, because those people, unfortunately, they won't make the little steps that it takes, because those people enjoy your sympathy. They enjoy you bailing them out. Have you ever noticed that there are some people that just can't get out of their own way, and then they're okay for a minute, and then they slip back into it? You have the same conversations, and really they know, but they're not prepared or ready to change. That's what it means by not ready to change. Because if they were ready to change, there are people ready to help. There are people ready to help you get back on your feet if you ask for help. You know, there are just some people that don't want it or aren't ready for it. And, you know, making all these changes, they're not easy. Of course, they're not easy. There have been times that I have wanted to give up, but I've never given up, because I like nice things. I want a nice holiday. My children are dressed beautifully. I'm in a beautiful house having a wonderful holiday with wonderful friends. That doesn't come because I'm not a good person or not a nice person. That comes from being, you know, tenacious, knowing what I want and going for it and making it happen. And that's really what I want to say. You know, I think, don't take life for granted. Stop worrying about what other people think of you. Truly, stop worrying. Some won't like you. Lots of people don't like me. I get so up people's nose for multitude of reasons. That's okay. Let them. Well, it's like that book, let them. You know, some people won't agree with your life choices. Let them. You know, some people won't agree with your career path. Let them. You're the one that needs to wake up with you, right? You're the one that needs to be okay with it all. You, your kids, that's it. No one else. And I think the moment we realize all of that, life becomes a lot simpler. It just does. Wear the outfit. Wear the things that you want to do. Buy the fucking bag, right? Life's too short. Buy the bag. Wear the bag. Talk yourself big. People don't want to hear what you're saying. I'm always super proud of my girlfriends. If people have to dumb themselves down because they're scared of my reaction, you know, I'm a terrible friend. I'm a terrible fucking friend. I get so excited for my wins that I want to share it with my friends. If they don't want to hear it, then you aren't my friend. It's as simple as that. And I've learned that. Some have been hard lessons, but those hard lessons also turn into the really good ones in the end, because the people that are meant to be here are here. Right? The people that make me laugh are here. The people that I love are here. My friend is flying. I think he's flown God knows how many hours to be here with me tomorrow and sing for me, you know, and he doesn't need to be. My other girlfriend is on holiday with her kids. She's like coming in for 24 hours. That's it. 24 hours to make this work for my party last minute. Like, you know, the people I'm staying with hosting this party for me. I can't believe it. Who does that? Who does that without, you know, any thank you? I mean, I've thought thank them, but like, they put this whole thing on for me in their home. A ton of people they don't know. Like, what a sweet, kind, amazing thing to do for another person. I'm 50, not 16. This is a major party happening, right? It's like, how lucky am I to have people like this in my life that want to do it, let alone do it? You know, lots of people say they're going to do things and they don't do them. Grab life by the balls. I started doing that straight out of school. Straight out of school. I wanted to do everything my parents told me I couldn't because, you know, they had forced me into boarding school for so long that I was like, by the time I got out, I was like, fuck them all. And by the way, even if I didn't really want to do something and they told me I couldn't do it, I was going to do it then. Just because, to prove the power in me that I can do whatever I want. Like, and I still feel like that. Like, I can do whatever I want. And I don't have to apologize to anyone. Yesterday I spent all day shopping with my twins and I had the most wonderful, wonderful time with them. And I'm so happy. So happy. You know, I'll pay for it later. You know, it's just, this is so special. Then I'm off to like with another set of friends and I'm just, you know, I don't care if I'm too much for people. Maybe you're too much for me, but I'm just nicer about it. I live and let live. Worry about you. You know, book that checkup, people. I can't tell you. As soon as you get to 35, 36, please go and get checked. I'm not turning it into that kind of a podcast, but I've just thought a lot about it because once, you know, health is really the wealthiest you can ever be. Health and peace. That's all. You know, I wish that for all of you. And as I have found my peace in life, you know, really, I just was feeling incredibly lucky and just, you know, you just never know. So thank you for listening. And I hope all of you out there have the, you know, the gusto, the, you know, balls to say today's the day, not tomorrow. Stop putting it off. Today is the day. You know, I was on holiday in Paris and I was like, it was an expensive trip. Did I need a Birkin? No, I didn't. I bought it. You know, I wanted it. Do what you want. That's it. That's the best thing you can do in life. Love you all. Don't forget to subscribe to Uncut and Uncensored. See you next week.